I'm not going to go chapter and verse into any thinking. What I will say is, I believe the time period you're talking about, I've been in office for a couple of months. The investigation, in my view, was not concluded into the conduct in particular that is the basis for the charges today. Since that time, we've had more evidence made available to the office and an opportunity to meet with additional witnesses. As I said earlier, I've been doing this for 24 years. I don't bring cases prior to a thorough and rigorous investigation. Now, having done so, the case has been brought.
I do not bring cases prior to a thorough and rigorous investigation, but now, having done so, the case has been brought. New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg speaking today. I want to bring into our conversation our colleague Ari Melber, who's the host of The Beat and MSNBC chief legal correspondent. Also with us throughout the night tonight, Andrew Weissman, who was, of course, one of the senior prosecutors on Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation. He also served as FBI general counsel. Also, Catherine Christian, who is a veteran of the same Manhattan District Attorney's office that brought these felony charges against the former president today. She's a former special assistant DA from that office. Thank you all to our legal firepower here for being here. Andrew and Catherine, let me just start with you guys. We've been pontificating over here at the table here as if we are lawyers, and we absolutely are not. Have we gotten anything wrong, or is there anything important that you think that we are missing in terms of understanding the law here and what we learned?
Well, I was going to start by saying I thought we were at the children's table, and then I noticed this is obviously the adult room.
That's right.
But with all due respect, as they say, I didn't think there was anything wrong. I actually wanted to maybe focus everybody on an issue that is sort of forward-looking. Because one of the things that happened today that I thought was interesting was the time frame going forward. So we're in April. And the next date that the court set is December. And the court made a point of saying that's a considerable amount of time. And it is true that state cases are obviously a little slower for various reasons than a typical federal case, but that's still quite some time. And there were sort of 2 points you could sort of make from that. One is, it is definitely a possibility that there will be what's called a superseding charge. That is that the financial investigation at the DA's office, which by all accounts is still ongoing and was talked about by DA Vance, the former DA on shows in this network on Sunday, that could be a reason that you didn't see the district attorney really pushing for a faster date, because it was quite some time. And by the same token, you didn't see Donald Trump, if he was innocent, saying, I want an immediate trial. I've been on a case like that 20 years ago. I'm that old. I was on a case called Arthur Anderson, where when we showed up the first day, Arthur Anderson said, we want a speedy trial. And within a matter of a couple months, we were in court on trial because they wanted to clear their name at that case. So on the one hand, you didn't have Donald Trump saying, you know what, I'm innocent and I want to prove it to the public. On the other hand, that it was a sign to me that the DA sort of not pushing for a faster trial meant they may have something else up their sleeve.
Catherine, when you're looking at these discussions, again, you're the expert. You've been there inside this prosecutor's case who brought these charges today. Is there something that you saw today that you either think we're sort of getting the wrong way around, or that you saw differently than is generally being observed?
Nothing wrong, but I'll be the one to say that Donald Trump is innocent until proven guilty. So I'll put that out there. These are allegations. I want to go to the statement of facts, which you so clearly said it was like the aha moment. These statement of facts, they're the roadmap that's going to prove Mr. Trump's intent to defraud and his intent to commit or conceal another crime. So it was very important. When I first heard that they get a statement of facts, I didn't understand. Then, of course, I read them. And then that's basically their roadmap. That's what they're saying. This is how we're intended to prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. So it was very important that they include that statement of facts, because you have 34 felony counts, and they're just the elements and the dates, but it doesn't really give you the meat of the case, and the statement of facts do.
Ari, looking at the relationship between the indictment, the statement, the verbal statement of the district attorney where he explained what was going on. We got a press release from the district attorney's office as well, laying it out kind of in layman's terms. And then that statement of fact that Catherine is describing, they all sort of told the story in a slightly different way. Do you think, as sort of a lay audience here and us as hosts trying to understand it, that we're getting it right?
I think we're getting it right. I think, if anything, there is a tendency to underestimate how much new information we got. I would love, and if I were practicing on this case, days to sift through it all. We got over 60 pages if you just count the transcript from the proceeding today, which I've now read, and this semi-speaking indictment. What comes through most, and why this was a terrible day for Donald Trump, is there was a lot of expectation that this was going to be about essentially payments to one woman, and that it was going to feel like sex, lies, and videotape. In fact, it looks more like tabloid Watergate. And I think what comes through here will be really important, and if anything, sometimes we're too close to all the innards of it, and we remember Mr. Pecker, and we know about Mr. Cohen, and we've interviewed each of them. This was bigger than that, according to the DA. The defendant has rights. The defendant is legally presumed innocent. But you're asking me what the DA is saying? He's saying this is tabloid Watergate, and everything that you're saying that we were told we knew or was small, the Trump lawyers, we already knew about this. Knew about what? Knew the lengths and the extent of a corporate, secret, lying, now federally convicted plot to mislead the American public, to hide things that which might have affected their vote, and do so in a manner that's already a convicted crime. That is bad for Donald Trump. That is not, as one lawyer put it outside the courthouse, boilerplate. If that's your boilerplate, throw your boilerplate out the window. You got a bad boilerplate case. You got a bad boilerplate life. It's not anyone's life, and it's not how elections are run. Now, the real Watergate had bigger things, obviously had Nixon in the White House as an incumbent, et cetera. But I do think that the key here, which they will present to a jury, is every crime, every lie, every intent was about stealing an election.
It was
And
about
the
the election.
cover-up. I mean, someone close to the investigation said to me last week, it's not just about what he did ahead of the election to defraud the voters. It's about the cover-up that he conducted from inside the Oval Office. And those are the checks you put up. I think most of those were signed from inside the Oval.
Every alleged falsified business record described in the indictment and used as a basis of a charge happens while he is in his first year of his presidency.
And one more legal point that we all know, I mean, Nicole knows this from Beyond campaigns, we've all covered and been around them. You can't have a corporation come rent you a bus.
Yes.
You can't have a corporation just give $10K to you in public, period, full stop.
You can't donate water.
That's right.
Right. So this is a regulated space. Now, there are reasons, and I do think it will be interesting to litigate in the trial or in the pre-trial motions, how the Fed stopped and then the DA picked it up, and we discussed all that. But that doesn't stop a prosecution. It would appear that the DA here is acting, he says, to protect American elections.
Okay. Can I ask just a dumb technical question, just on because I think, let's just say these were charged as misdemeanors, okay? It seems like that case seems slam dunk. Okay, these are all just business, business
These are
fraud.
listed as legal fees. These are not legal fees. This is reimbursement for a different thing. Yes.
So, boom, these are misdemeanors, right? They're elevated to felony because they are with the intent to commit another crime, right? The crime of, he says, unlawfully or conspiring to unlawfully aid a candidate, right, is unlawful or a crime in New York law. I know this is a dumb technical question, but I just want to ask, is there a federal preemption problem? Is there a problem that, he is a candidate for federal office and not New York office with that theory? Does that make
not
sense?
According to the DA. I mean, reading from, again, this is right up top, page 1, paragraph 2. They say in writing election laws and lying for tax purposes. That's laws, plural.
Right.
Their theory of the case is that what enhances it, we've all had our crash course in New York law, what enhances it is more than one election crime. And then the DA today, as we've reported, spoke about examples of that. So that is their theory of the case. And also, Chris raises the point, if this were only misdemeanors, big if, yeah, in a different context, someone might plead out, avoid jail time.
Yeah.
But Mr. Weisselberg is in Rikers for these charges, falsifying business records and other fraud.
And Cohen went to wherever he went, Otisville. So.
All right, we got much more of our special recap on the arraignment and arrest of former President Donald Trump today. Stay with us.
Asthma isn't pretty. It's the moment when you realize that a good day is about to become a bad one. But then I remembered that the world is so much bigger than that with Trelegy. Because one dose a day helps keep my asthma symptoms under control. And with 3 medicines and 1 inhaler, Trelegy helps improve lung function so I can breathe easier for a full 24 hours.
Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Trelegy contains a medicine that increases risk of hospitalizations and death from asthma problems when used alone. When this medicine is used with an inhaled corticosteroid,